My name is Ian Lin, and I work at realtor.com, and I'm the lead data visualization designer. I think, yeah, it's about networking, right? So you also need to meet lots of people from different industries so that you know the current trend and what is the future direction you should go. And sometimes you also can see some work from other people's, and maybe you think you can relate that kind of things in your work and keep improve yourself and keep being competitive, right? This is the nature in Silicon Valley. Well, I think data is kind of the source of knowledge for me. So the more knowledge you have, you can do things better, right? But when you have more and more data, although you think you can have more and more knowledge, but you still need to have a very concise way to interpret the data. And maybe before that, you also need to pre-process the data to make the data clean, and then you can do all those modeling and interpretation afterwards. So that's a very interesting process. It's just something like when you see some new things, and you also, even though you're not a computer, you also try to collect some data from that new things, and you try to interpret those data, and you kind of create a profile in your mind about that new things. So I think that's a very similar process, but we just try to utilize the power of computer to help us to facilitate that process. So that's very interesting. I think even you will think interesting for that, right?
Oh, yeah.
I think the insight, the main insight I want to bring to the user is data is kind of the things the result of your observation. So when you observe something, or data can also help you to interpret your observation, and then you can base on that kind of observation to take action. So I think for me, that's the whole thing about data. And today, the talk I have is introduce how we identify the potential business problems in the online real estate website, and then how we solve it, and how we relate that kind of problem as a user experience problem, so we can make the product even better for our users. I think it's just like what I mentioned. It's kind of the way you interpret data and how you communicate with other people about your findings in your data science work, right? If you just run a very solid model and the result maybe is very significant, but if you don't have a very compelling way to sell your point, maybe your work will be buried under the ground forever. So I think that my take is I try to read the data first, and then I try to know how the users will use the data or interpret data, and then I know what is the user's expectation on the data. And then I use it as a connection between the users and data scientists to help data scientists to think about how they can show their findings in a way that common people can easily understand. So I think that's also the philosophy of data visualization.